Are you counting on a 401k to fund your golden years? You might be leaning on a system that was never designed to hold the weight of your entire retirement. What if the very foundation of modern retirement savings is cracking under pressure? Welcome to the Economy Unpacked Daily YouTube channel. From Wall Street to your street, we share the world of money in a clear way. Today, we're unpacking the retirement crisis that no one wants to talk about. Around the globe, retirement systems are being strained by a perfect storm of factors. People are living longer than ever before, birth rates are declining, and economic growth is slowing down. Compounding this, labor markets have become increasingly unstable, making consistent, long-term saving a challenge for millions. Traditional safety nets, like state-sponsored retirement systems and company pensions, are no longer sufficient to cover the financial needs of a rapidly aging population. As essential costs like healthcare and housing climb faster than wages, the dream of a comfortable retirement is becoming a source of widespread anxiety for both individuals and governments. What was once a predictable and secure life stage is now fraught with uncertainty and risk. A major driver of this change has been the fundamental shift from collective, employer-funded pension systems to a model of individual responsibility. Just a few decades ago, many workers could look forward to a defined benefit pension, which guaranteed them a steady income for life after they retired. However, over the last 40 years, corporations have systematically replaced these pension plans with individual savings accounts like the 401k in the United States, the RRSP in Canada, superannuation in Australia, and workplace pensions in the UK. This transition has effectively transferred the financial risk from companies to their employees. Instead of employers guaranteeing a retirement outcome, workers are now tasked with managing their own investments, navigating market volatility, and planning for an increasingly long and expensive future, all skills that most people have never been formally taught. At the heart of this shift in America is the 401k, a system now showing visible signs of strain. Originally designed as a simple tax shelter, the 401k is struggling to cope with modern economic realities, including relentless market volatility, corrosive inflation, high management fees, and the unpredictable costs of living in retirement. The unfortunate reality is that many Americans are not saving nearly enough, and the system's heavy dependence on the stock market makes it dangerously vulnerable, especially during economic downturns. To understand how we got here, we need to look at the history and original purpose of the 401k. The provision for the 401k was introduced into the U.S. tax code back in 1978. Crucially, it was never intended to be the primary retirement vehicle for the nation. Its original purpose was to supplement existing pension plans by offering employees a way to defer taxes on a portion of their savings. But corporations quickly saw an opportunity. By adopting the 401k as a replacement for traditional pensions, they could shift the enormous financial and investment risk away from the company balance sheet and onto the shoulders of their workers. As a result, employees became the sole managers of their retirement destiny, often left to navigate complex financial markets without adequate education or professional guidance. The disappearance of pensions was driven by several key factors. For corporations, maintaining lifetime pension payouts became incredibly expensive as life expectancies continued to rise. The volatility of financial markets also made it difficult for companies to meet their long-term pension obligations, especially during recessions. Simultaneously, a powerful new narrative emerged, promoting the idea of self-directed retirement. This story celebrated personal choice, financial independence, and the freedom to manage one's own investments. While appealing on the surface, this narrative masked a harsher reality by shedding their pension obligations. Employers were saving billions of dollars in long-term costs. The current state of 401k preparedness in America is alarming. The data paints a stark picture of a nation financially unready for old age. According to recent studies, a staggering 57% of working-age Americans have less than $40,000 saved for retirement. Even more concerning, 25% have no retirement savings at all. While the average retirement balance for individuals aged 55 to 64 is in the low six figures, this amount is far below the $1 million or more that financial experts often recommend for a comfortable retirement. This massive gap reveals a systemic failure, one where the majority of Americans are on a path toward significant financial stress in their later years. Even for those who do save, the system has built-in limitations. While the government periodically raises contribution limits for 401ks, many households simply cannot afford to contribute enough to make a meaningful difference. The relentless rise in the cost of essentials like rent, healthcare, and childcare, combined with wage stagnation and inflation, leaves little room for retirement savings. The real cost of retirement, which includes housing, escalating medical expenses, and potential long-term care, has consistently outpaced both wage growth and general inflation, creating a financial gap that is becoming harder and harder to close. Furthermore, the entire 401k system is dangerously dependent on the performance of the stock market. A single, poorly timed recession can wipe out decades of diligent savings, leaving those near retirement with no time to recover their losses. This retirement challenge is not unique to the United States. It's a global phenomenon. In Canada, the population is aging rapidly, putting immense pressure on its retirement systems. The Canada Pension Plan, or CPP, provides a baseline income, but it often falls short of covering the high cost of living in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver. Participation in registered retirement savings plans, or RRSPs, has also been declining as Canadians grapple with stagnant wages and the world's most severe housing bubble, which consumes a massive portion of household income. Australia's superannuation system is widely regarded as one of the strongest in the world, thanks to its mandatory employer contributions. However, it is not without its own pressures. The system is heavily tied to market performance, making it vulnerable to downturns. A growing concern is longevity risked, the very real possibility that people will outlive their savings. High management fees and periods of poor market performance have also eroded the retirement balances for many Australian workers. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, a serious pension crisis is brewing. The country is grappling with underfunded pension schemes, rising taxes, and a cost of living crisis that has severely eroded the value of retirement income. A growing number of British retirees are struggling to cover basic expenses as energy prices, housing costs, and healthcare inflation soar. Beyond these systemic issues, there are several hidden threats that can silently sabotage your 401k and modern retirement plans. The first is inflation. Even a seemingly moderate inflation rate of 3% to 4% per year can cut the purchasing power of your retirement savings in half over 2 decades. Retirees, who often rely on fixed or limited income sources, are the most vulnerable. Key expenses for seniors, particularly healthcare and housing, consistently rise at a rate much faster than the general inflation rate, compounding the problem. Another hidden threat is taxes. Withdrawals from a traditional 401k or IRA are taxed as ordinary income in retirement. Many people underestimate their future tax burden, especially if tax rates are forced to rise to fund government programs. Without careful tax planning, retirees can face an unexpected and significant reduction in their spendable income. Longevity risk is another major factor. People today are living 10 to 20 years longer than previous generations. Savings that were once designed to last for a 15-year retirement must now stretch for 30 years or more. This dramatically increases the probability of outliving your money. Finally, there's market volatility and what's known as sequence of returns risk. This refers to the danger of experiencing poor market returns. In the early years of your retirement, if the market crashes just as you start making withdrawals, your portfolio can be depleted much faster than you planned, and you may never recover. This leads us to the critical question: is the 401k model sustainable? Future demographic pressures are a major concern. With fewer young workers entering the workforce and a growing number of retirees, the tax base that supports government programs like Social Security and Medicare is shrinking. This demographic imbalance puts immense strain on public finances and makes the current retirement funding model increasingly unsustainable without significant reforms. The retirement gap is also widening. Millennials and Gen Z are facing a much tougher economic landscape than the baby boomers did. They are burdened with slower wage growth, a higher cost of living, and an unstable housing market. As a result, their ability to save for retirement is severely compromised, and the inequality between the retirement-ready and the not ready at all grows larger every year. This is compounded by government policy uncertainty. As governments struggle to fund their obligations, future tax rates are likely to increase. Changes to rules governing Social Security, Medicare, and retirement accounts create a climate of uncertainty that makes long-term planning incredibly difficult. So, how can you protect your retirement in this challenging environment? The first and most crucial step is to build diversified income streams. Depending solely on a 401k and the stock market is a dangerous strategy. By creating other sources of income such as rental income from real estate, dividends from a stock portfolio, a side business, or other passive income ventures, you can reduce your reliance on market cycles and create greater financial stability. Next, you must incorporate Roth strategies into your plan. Contributing to a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k allows your money to grow tax-free, and all your qualified withdrawals in retirement are also tax-free. This is an incredibly powerful tool for reducing your future tax burden and giving you more financial flexibility. Don't overlook the Health Savings Account, or HSA, as a retirement tool. The HSA offers a unique triple tax advantage. Your contributions are tax-deductible, your money grows tax-free, and your withdrawals are tax-free when used for qualified medical expenses. Since healthcare is one of the largest and most unpredictable expenses for retirees, building a well-funded HSA is a critical strategy. You should also focus on low-cost investing. Over the long term, low-cost index funds consistently outperform the majority of expensive, actively managed funds. Reducing your investment fees by even 1% can add hundreds of thousands of dollars to your nest egg over your lifetime. It's also essential to protect your savings against inflation. Assets like Treasury inflation, protected securities, TIPS, real estate, commodities, and stocks of companies that consistently raise their dividends can help your portfolio keep pace with rising prices. Finally, you must prepare for long-term healthcare costs. Medicare does not cover everything, particularly long-term care in a nursing home or assisted living facility. Exploring options like long-term care insurance or creating a dedicated self-funded plan is essential. To avoid depleting your life savings in your final years, the 401k system as we know it is not necessarily doomed, but it is no longer enough to rely on it alone. The era of passive set-to-tan-forgetit retirement planning is over. Individuals must now take a proactive, CEO-like role in managing their financial future. This requires a sophisticated approach that combines smart investment strategies, savvy tax planning, the creation of diversified income streams, and the discipline to save consistently. The future of your retirement is not a matter of chance. It depends entirely on the informed, intentional actions you take today.